Qatar meets Somaliland, game changer or Gulf diplomacy trap. One trip to Qatar, a quiet nod from the US Congress, a memorandum of understanding with Ethiopia. Somaliland's diplomatic campaign is gaining traction, but in a region full of competing agendas, success could come with strings attached. Hello, I'm Sarun Zamanil and this is Analytica Today. Last week, Somaliland's President Abdirahman Mohamed Irro touched down in Qatar, marking the first ever official visit by a Somaliland leader to Doha. It looked like a diplomatic breakthrough, but what followed was a cold slap. Qatar's foreign ministry quickly reaffirmed its support for Somali's sovereignty, refusing to even acknowledge Somaliland's claim to statehood. Still, the visit was more than symbolic. It revealed just how high the stakes have become in the Horn of Africa, and how foreign powers from Arab states to Turkey and the US are playing their own games on Somali soil. Let's break it down. Somaliland declared independence in 1991, shortly after the collapse of Somalia's central government. Since then, it's operated as a de facto state, its own currency, elections, institutions, and relative peace in a volatile region. But one thing's missing: international recognition. Somalia, backed by most of the Arab League, insists Somaliland is just another region. Somaliland, on the other hand, points to history. A British protectorate until 1960, it voluntarily united with Italian Somalia, only to suffer under Siad Barre's brutal regime, including the bombing of Hargeisa. But for decades, no major power took Somaliland's bid for independence seriously. Now that's changing, with growing instability in the Red Sea, from the Gaza war to Houthi attacks to the brewing conflict with Iran. Somaliland's strategic value has soared, and that's drawing into a crowd: Qatar, UAE, Turkey, Egypt, the US, and now even Ethiopia. Now everyone wants a piece of Somaliland, but not everyone wants it to succeed. Qatar's engagement with Somaliland is new and controversial. While previous Somaliland presidents visited the UAE and Saudi Arabia, Irro's visit to Doha is a shift. Qatar has long backed the Somali government in Mogadishu, often aligning with Turkish interests. Its statement calling Somaliland a region of Somalia was expected, but the optics of hosting Irro in the first place? Now that was different. It shows that even Qatar sees value in talking to Hargeisa. Still, the hypocrisy is hard to miss. Qatar gained its own independence in 1971 after decades of British backing, rejecting union with Bahrain and the UAE. So why deny Somaliland that same right? As Somaliland's Minister of Information put it, if Qatar won't share its gas with Egypt's poor, why does it expect Somaliland to share its meager resources with Mogadishu? Behind the diplomacy lies a darker truth. Foreign powers are treating Somalia like a chess piece, one where Somali's voice rarely matters. And Qatar isn't the only player. The Horn of Africa is turning into a battleground for foreign influence. Turkey is deeply embedded in Somalia, with military bases, infrastructure deals, and political cover. The UAE has poured money into Somaliland, especially through its port investment in Berbera via DP World. Egypt is using Mogadishu as a pressure point to contain Ethiopia. The US is quietly courting Somaliland, with a bill now in Congress to formally recognize it. Even Ethiopia, landlocked and increasingly cornered, signed a 2024 MOU with Somaliland, seeking naval access to Berbera. But here's the problem: most of the powers at play in Somalia are not African, yet they're the ones shaping the future of the Somali government, and that's destabilizing the region. Instead of enabling dialogue between Hargeisa and Mogadishu, they're turning local differences into regional flashpoints, linking them to Red Sea security, Gulf rivalries, and counter-Iran strategies. Here's the thing: Somaliland's independence struggle is real. So is Somalia's need for unity and dignity. But the moment foreign powers turned this into a proxy war, one for ports, sea lanes, and Red Sea leverage, they stopped helping and they've started using. And in the process, they've sidelined African diplomacy, hollowed out regional sovereignty, and deepened mistrust between the two neighbors. Somaliland and Somalia may have different visions, but neither benefits from being pawns in someone else's empire game. So what's next? Somaliland is building momentum from Qatar to Washington to Addis Ababa, and the people of the Horn are watching to see if its 30-year struggle ends in recognition or another round of stalemate. But beyond the flags, press release, and the story is about power. Who holds it, who claims it, and who is allowed to wield it in the Horn of Africa. If African nations don't claim their spaces in these decisions, someone else will. And when the dust settles, the question won't just be whether Somaliland gets independence, but whether the region gets to decide its own fate at all. If this story matters to you, hit like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Is Somaliland ready for recognition, or are foreign powers setting the region up for more instability? This is Analytica Today, and I am Sarun. We'll see you next time.